What is up, YouTubians? Today I'm going to show you the basic things that you can do after you get rooted. First off, I'm going to start by showing you SuperUser. This is an app that gets installed while you're doing your root. Whatever guide you use typically shows you how to get this on your phone. Most likely you're going to flash it while you're rooting. So this is a list of apps here that require SuperUser permissions. Basically what SuperUser does is lets you grant these particular apps special permissions. So now after you're rooted, the next thing you're going to want to do is head to the market, and you're going to want to get the second most important app, which is BusyBox. This is actually just an installer for BusyBox, so you already have it here. So you download it, and then you install BusyBox with this button over here, big install. That's necessary for a lot of apps to run. Yeah, so then the next thing that I like to do anyways, I'm basically just going to show you guys things you can do to change the look and feel a little bit. I'm not really going to get into battery saving or anything like that, just because I don't know how much of that stuff actually works. So the first thing I like to do is head over to the font installer. From here, you get to pick whatever kind of fonts you want. Let's just say we like this one. You can preview what it's going to look like. And then after you pick the one you like, you click on it and install it. And that's a very simple thing. It's just going to install it, and then you just reboot your phone. And then you'll have fonts on the majority of your things. As you can see, the top up here, it's changed. The next thing you can do, this is a slightly more advanced, but it's really not that big of a deal. You can head over to this build.prop installer. It's actually build properties. You can tweak a lot of different things. Like, for example, this LCD density changes the resolution a little bit, makes it look a little bit better, at least for my particular phone, which is the Note 2. And then I'm going to show you, if you head over to XDA Developers website, I'll get into a little bit more about this. Right now, actually, it shows you a lot of different things you can do while you're in that build.prop editor. All of these are, some of them are, they're device specific. So you should always check your particular device, which I'll show you in a sec. But some of them, if they're not actually in that list that we were just in, if they're not in this list, you can just type them. Type one of these particular lines, and it will just add it into your build.prop settings. But before you do that, you should always make a backup. So right here, create a backup, just in case you change something, you come back to your phone and it's all types of messed up. So that's that. Another thing you can do, actually, hold on. I'm going to go back here and explain a little bit about XDA. If you're here, you're probably already rooted, so you probably know enough about XDA, but one thing I like to do is check the themes and apps. This way you can find modded apps or apps that aren't technically supposed to be on your phone, but they're made, but somebody will make them work on your phone, which I think that's pretty cool. And over here, when you first get to XDA, it's best that you just type your device in up here, and it'll take you to to your device, and you just click on it, and from there you're good to go. Now, the next thing I recommend doing is going back to XDA and getting the Xposed installer and Xposed app settings. If you search them on XDA, you'll find them. Both of them. Download both of them. And the next thing you're going to want to do is install the framework right here. Then it's going to prompt you to reboot, but first head over to modules and check Xposed app settings. And then you'll do a simple reboot down here, and then you go back. And now, man, I hope that doesn't look weird. Anyways, then you go to app settings, and you can tweak them to look as if they were on a tablet, or change the DPI, which is the same thing that LCD thing that we were doing earlier in the ROM in the ROM Explorer or ROM Toolbox. Only it does it for each specific app. And the main reason why this is cool, instead of just changing the whole thing that you would do in the ROM manager, ROM Toolbox, is because some apps will no longer work. Some of the system apps, like for example on this phone, the camera gets all messed up, the Samsung keyboard stops working. So that's kind of a workaround, and possibly a little less dangerous, even though, I mean, it's really not going to mess anything up if you change your DPI. The worst that can happen is your text is going to be hard to read or something. So, and there's tons of other things that you can change in that build.prop editor. I just am not going to get into too much. That's something you can Google on your own. But yeah, then after you change these things, you would reboot your phone. Some people recommend you do it twice, just to be safe. I don't know if that matters or not, but that's pretty much it. I mean, that's a basic guide to some of the things you can do. Obviously, in the ROM Toolbox, there's a lot more things you can explore. Another cool thing is the app manager. If you go to XDA and take a look at your phone, you can figure out which apps. This is, I mean, if you don't want to flash a new ROM, which is something I'm not going to get into. But, I mean, I can later. If you guys want a video about it later, I can do that. But you can go back to XDA, figure out which apps you can freeze or uninstall just to free up some memory on your phone. Typically, there's a lot of apps you can move, you can get rid of that you wouldn't be able to do without root. Boot animations is one thing that's also a little bit device specific, but there's a ton of them, and you can change those pretty easily with this right here. Also, you have a little menu that allows you to just boot right into your recovery. If you head over to ROM management, you can reboot into recovery right here. I've never used these. I typically just like to go to recovery to do it, but they're there. But anyways, that's pretty much it. And after that, the next thing I like to do is head over to this 6-axis controller, download that so I can play old school games on emulators, and that's something that you need root for. It's a really cool thing. I think it's really fun to do, but I can make a video about that later. But that's pretty much it. I mean, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, go ahead and comment below and I'll get back to you. But otherwise, thanks for watching.